You're watching the Canvas Broadcasting Group here at cbgtv.com. The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or cbgtv.com.
I got a couple of questions. What are the organizations? And how are we affiliated?
I don't know. I just got here.
Who's asking? I don't see those questions.
Oh, shit.
I think. There you
Hi
go.
there, Kim.
Hi, guys.
Damn.
It's 3 hi guys and 1 Asian.
Yeah.
Sounds like a naughty porn movie.
I'm about to get more Asian as the minutes go by.
Why are you eating Asian food?
No, my eyes just get smaller as I smoke more.
Hey.
Thank you. No offense.
I actually got away with it once in a going through a yellow light. Cop stopped me. Carload of girls, and I basically almost started crying and said, when I like someone told a joke in the back, and when I cry, my eyes shut. I didn't see that it turned yellow, and I got off.
Do you put a little accent in there when you do that?
No, not usually. That's reserved for creepy guys at the bar that you pretend you can't speak English for.
No, speak English. No English.
Exactly. English. You know English?
Where are you from? Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, welcome, Kim, to the Three Hi Guys. This is our third installment of the Three Hi Guys. Welcome back, Paul.
Thank you.
Your mic is all fucked up again, buddy.
Where
Paul's
you been
learning.
hiding, Paul? Where's Paul been hiding?
Paul's been hiding in a grow room.
Good
Yeah,
place to hide.
He was busy for the last show and he couldn't make it. So
Your
just
microphone
down.
is not working very well at the moment. Maybe are you covering it or sitting on it or something?
No. How is
Okay,
it?
there you go.
Okay.
No, it's gone now.
It's gone now.
No, I got a job. I'm working for an LP.
I don't know why your audio is not working now. What's your name, Bob?
Bob.
I'm so bad with names now. I'm calling everybody Bob.
Bob,
Who's
yeah,
Bob?
I saw that post.
Welcome to the Bob Show.
Last time I recall, you had to put headphones on, Paul.
Paul, yes, Paul.
Well, you know what? I'm still
We've covered this before the show because he can't hear Al. I will translate for him. His daughter isn't home yet. He can't use any others. He doesn't have any. Waiting for his daughter to come home.
I love the artwork in the back there, Paul. Some of Phil's work you got up on the wall there. Nice.
Sign language. Let's offend everybody today.
You guys are real high tech, eh?
Oh,
What?
What?
Yeah.
Wow. You were fine before the show.
He'll figure it out. Well, while Paul's trying to figure out his mic, Kim's here for a reason. So I wanted to make sure that she tells everybody. Well, I'll tell everybody the reason.
Yeah,
but
you go ahead. You're the main. You're the head guy.
he
Spit it out, man. Spit it out.
well, it's been 4 months now.
November. So
November.
actually, I was thinking about this today. It's been like 6 months, 6 or 7 months.
I've been here 9 months already in Terrace
Yeah.
Bay.
Yeah.
Just phew. 1 minute I'm giving Alm all my tables, and the next minute I'm up here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
next day or something.
it's been approximately 6 months since our friend Alan Park passed away from prostate cancer, which he had beaten twice before.
Probably more than that, I would say. And I think because it metastasized, it was probably hard to tell at times where it actually was attacking. I know a lot of
Paul doing that, by the way.
Yeah.
I think I'm back. Can you hear me?
Is that where the echo's coming from?
Yes.
Mm.
Hang on, Paul.
Well?
Let me do some. I'm fixing it, Paul. There, I put your echo cancellation on, Paul. You should be all right now.
Okay, how do I sound?
There you go. So,
Great.
okay.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. So, go ahead and continue, Kim, what you were saying.
Yeah, he died from cancer. Let's just put it that way. It was diagnosed in the prostate, but I'm sure it traveled to many other areas as the journey went on.
And I met Alan and Paul at the same time. And when they were doing this, Paul went, "Oh God."
I actually love these so much. I wish more of them had gotten done from the photos that got sent like that.
Well, this is the photo that most people would know Alan from, because this is the one that I've seen in a lot of articles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? And then we've got the Green Crush logo up. Now, the reason I have all this stuff is because on Thursday, we are going to be starting rebroadcasting the Green Crush with Alan Park here on CBG TV.
Cheers
and
to that.
At the top of the hour, if you're interested in what Alan was doing, we've got a few minutes of his first episode, which I'm going to be running on Thursday at 7 p.m. here on CBG TV.
Awesome.
And you'll be able to also hear the audio version of it on wherever you can get an audio podcast. You'll find it, believe me. So let me remove Alan off the screen. He's always such a prima donna, just always in there.
I've got a new one in the works, actually. I don't know if you guys remember the John Carpenter film, They Live.
Yes.
Okay, that was mine and Alan's, one of our favorites to watch together. And he liked those graphics, the Obey and those graphics. So I did find a picture today off that movie that I definitely want to get ready for one of the episodes where I can lay over a picture of Alan.
Well, you guys did a lot of like Alan Quartermine and Harrison Ford's, characters in a few of those shows, though, didn't you? Or promos, I guess they were.
I tried to utilize my very basic Photoshop abilities at the time.
I like Photoshop.
One thing about Green Crush is everything we did was pretty much done like in the pub or at Alan's house or at mine and Danny's house. We didn't source out a lot of anything. Everything we did on our own, which is
as we do here. We've always done that. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So, but I want to say how grateful I am. When Alan died, one of the biggest things that he always talked about, well, for years before he died, was making sure his word was kept alive. And I felt really overwhelmed when he passed because I didn't know how to make that a reality without, quitting my full-time job and trying to make that happen. So I am so grateful that, that the two of us connected or reconnected and that you guys have this platform and are able to bring that back. I recently got given some hard drives that Alan had. And
yeah, you mentioned, yeah.
Working with Alan, he was just so frustrated by technology minute by minute, but there were key interviews and footage that went missing over the years. And, that we would do this wonderful interview and then Danny and I would ask where it was and he'd forgotten where he put it. So I'm totally hoping that I can find some of these things that we did together, even some behind the scenes stuff, even that we can continue to release as things go on.
Like a best of.
Yeah, or lost footage, right?
Right. Yes, exactly. Sort of like some music by a band that was never released.
or like that dollar bill that somebody found that's now worth $7,000.
Wow. Yeah,
Oh,
and
I've got a
we've
$2
been
bill.
doing some revisits with some of the guests that we had. I know just yesterday I was really saddened to hear that Vera Toomey out of Ireland lost her little 13-year-old Ava.
Yeah.
She was a friend of the show. And that woman, for years, they were traveling from Ireland to Amsterdam, smuggling in CBD oil to take her 8-year-olds at the time seizures from hundreds a day down to one or two.
And
So
they were from where?
Ireland, from
Yeah, that's
Cork.
what I thought. And it sounds ridiculous that they would have to go through that, as England at the time was the largest hemp producers on a medical level, because was it GW Pharmacies is there, right? Or pharmaceutical.
And it wasn't even THC, it was CBD at the time.
Yeah.
CBD.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
and
ridiculous.
then when she finally fought hard enough and she put herself in front of politicians on TV, made a lot of people angry. When she finally got the legalization, then they wouldn't cover the cost of it. Yeah. And if you've seen the costs that they charge pharmaceutically for those products, it's unattainable.
Oh,
so
big time.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I was saddened to hear that she suddenly passed.
Sorry.
But also very grateful that cannabis gave her 5 or 6 years of life where she was able to live like a child and smile and experience life. So people like that, I'd love to bring back and see where they are now, right? Not maybe her, but you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. We've kept in touch with a lot of youngsters over the years, like Haley. I talk to her mom now and then. She's been on Al's show many times. She comes on mine. Yeah. And I mean, Al's had for the last little while, anyways, because although we do touch base with patients, it's usually just thrown in there. Do you know what I mean? Into the conversation, but Al actually has those patients on his show.
Yeah, like little Sophie.
Yep.
Sophie Jones from Nova Scotia, who's dealing with missing a chromosome gene, and her parents had tried 3 or 4 different pharmaceutical drugs on her, and then when they finally decided, they talked to the doctor, and the doctor said, sort of gave them yes, but it wasn't a welcoming, hugging type yes. And they went ahead and did that. And a few weeks later, everything settled down. And she's off all her pharmaceutical drugs now. And she's just on cannabis that she gets through a licensed producer. But unfortunately, they've had to take a petition to the provincial government there in order to get try to get the provincial government to pay for her cannabis oil.
Yeah.
So they're fighting that right now.
That's craziness, man.
Yeah.
And yet they'll cover drugs that have known side effects and
yep. Yeah, the other drugs were all covered. So now they had at one point they were getting on the compassion programs. Well, eventually those compassion programs ran out, expired. You're paying full costs, and then they find out that the strain that she was on, they were no longer producing it anymore.
Because it's not a legal seed to legally grow anymore.
Well, they just stopped, the licensed producer just stopped growing that strain. Maybe they wasn't selling very well. I haven't got a clue. But they stopped growing that strain, so they weren't making the oil, and now they're trying to find something that works. And I think they did find something. But when they were on the broadcast, they were in search for something that would work.
Wow.
So
we had another lady on the show. I don't know if you keep in touch with her, Paul. Jenny Hallam. Yeah. Every once in a while, I hear from her. Maybe you can talk a little bit about Jenny and how she. Yeah.
Jenny was on one of the shows that I was the co-host of.
Holy Paul, your voice again.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take over.
My voice is gone again.
Oh,
There.
now it's back. Maybe speak
See?
loud.
I guess I got it close to the mic.
No,
No,
it's
the closer you get, the more you muffled you get for some reason.
All right. How about here?
That's
perfect.
yeah, that's good.
All right. Jenny Hallam is an Australian advocate who has done amazing work down there, and she was in the middle of a court battle when she was on the show, and she's one of the true heroes of cannabis in Australia, and just such a lovable person. She is a caregiver to lost and baby kangaroos. So there's a cuteness factor in watching her antics on Facebook that is just off the hook. And a sweet person, and really has helped the whole process there in that country.
She was facing 2 life sentences in Australia for supplying medical oil to patients that were dying.
Yeah, giving it away.
She had animals killed on her property. She had buildings set on fire. The things that woman had to dodge to keep herself free were just amazing.
Those laws are so wrong.
But that was only 4 years ago, 5 years ago, Al.
Yeah, I know. Well, like 2 weeks ago, they just hung a second guy in Singapore for cannabis.
I saw that.
That's 2 in a month's time.
He never had it in his hands. He was
neither one of them did.
they said.
Yeah, it's so wrong, and you would hope that governments and stuff like that would see that the benefit it's had, like in these kids, like a 6-year-old, 3-year-old kid's not going around faking things, not making up stories.
One of the things we found is the UK was really ahead at one point in time. They were anyways very ahead of the leading kind of the medical research and coming out and releasing information that other countries weren't releasing at the time. So a lot of stuff we drew and Alan drew from when he referenced a lot of these studies came out of the UK, 10, 20 years before it was legal over here. They were saying that it was curing cancer.
Like, why do they seem to be giving everybody a so hard time? Like, there's Billy Caldwell over there too. Hard time. His mother got caught smuggling oil. Like, it's.
Did you see that? Speaking of kids, Justin Kander has just graduated from college or university or something like that. Justin Kander is the kid that held up that sign and said, "I'm illegally healed."
Oh, yes,
really?
I know that song.
Yeah. And I mean, his parents must be so proud. Now he studied cannabinoid medicine or something like that. I just saw a post and I can't remember even what your name is, Bob. So I won't even try and remember what the article said.
Bob. When I went through and did my treatment with oil, I was kind of shocked at how there was a few close friends that reacted really adversely to my choice of medication.
Yes.
And it was weird, and I was chastised because I didn't suffer. Right? Like it's not a normal kind of treatment because it's very pleasant. Really.
So not fear that you weren't going the traditional route, but almost like a jealous kind of factor that you had an easier ride than they did.
Yeah, and the weird thing was when I got diagnosed with prostate cancer, 8 of my friends, a client and a business partner, also got diagnosed with different cancers. And none of them made it 2 years. And all went traditional treatment, right?
Mm-hmm.
One was, Angel Rosenthal, who was instrumental in helping Phil get his star on Canada's Walk of Fame. And she was the most knowledgeable person about Phil I'd ever met. And she helped Mike Thomas, who wrote the book about Phil, with the book. She got a Hodgkin's kind of cancer and went in for her first chemo treatment, and it killed her.
Oh, fuck.
Happens to 2%. They don't tell you this shit, right? They don't tell you to read the drug warnings on those things. And with all chemotherapies, there's a secondary cancer that it causes. Right?
Yeah.
And another friend of mine, love the guy, Bill Arnett from Owen Sound. And he had been a cigarette smoker. His mother, father, and sister all died of liver cancer. He thought, I'm going to go get my lungs checked. And he got them checked, and he had a couple of spots, and they removed them. And he thought, you know what, I'm going to do preventative chemotherapy. And this sounds like a doctor talking him into this shit, right? And so he starts chemotherapy. Well, each different kind of chemotherapy medicine has a predisposition for a secondary cancer. It says so right in their paperwork.
Oh.
And the guy was not intelligent enough to suss out the fact that 3 members of his family had died of liver cancer and gave him one that caused liver cancer.
Oh.
Metastasized so quick that it went to his bones. They had to remove a couple of burns.
But you do come across people who are like, my dad 15 years ago was diagnosed. No, it's been a bit longer now. Diagnosed with Parkinson's, and I watched the progression. And as I was learning and finding out about cannabis, he was discovering about Parkinson's, and I said, "Do you want to try cannabis?" And he said, "No. My dad was a psychiatrist, a pill doctor from the old school, behavior modification specialist who, dealt with pills every day. Not cannabis. He didn't want something that was taking control of his mind the way that cannabis does." I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Part of what talking. We got a comment there. Nice format. Love the topic.
Yes, I saw that.
I think it was also the fear of the fact that it was illegal.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think so. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because one of the things that, looking back at the show that I find really interesting is that all of that show occurred before legalization. Alan was the most unhappiest person on legalization day than anyone I'd run into that day. And I actually asked him, "Why are you so upset?" And he felt like it was the death of freedom for marijuana when that happened, because it brought in so many new laws and criminality charges that went along with it, that he was really unhappy about that. So I think that it will be really interesting to listen to, I think, almost 2 years worth of podcast episodes we have weekly, from a perspective that when he was saying all of this stuff, it wasn't legal. He was still a bit of a pioneer. We were still running into closed doors everywhere we went because we were talking about something that was illegal. So that's going to be really interesting, even for me, to revisit those episodes and the content.
Yeah.
To watch it all.
Yeah.
The thing that I didn't like about what he went through was the fact that he got literally shunned and thrown out the fucking door of CBC.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, Al doesn't know too much about Alan.
Not like you guys, obviously. No.
So, because he wanted to bring that part of what he was going on into his whatever he was doing, his life, his career. And they wanted nothing to do with it, because if you got sick in the industry, Take some Coke, drink your face off, be well, and do your job. Don't get sick and use cannabis.
If you can get a hold ever of the last New Year's Eve special that he did with Air Farce. So Al Graham, Alan was on Air Farce for 10 years, around about 8 or 9 years. And if you watch that last episode, he was so sick doing that last episode. I believe he almost tripped on stage, and he built it into his act because nobody knew at the time. He had just found out himself. So yeah, when he finally did come forward and tell them, by that time he had already started trying non-traditional but non-illegal therapies, bleach, urine, everything that was out there. He had nothing to lose, right?
Yeah. Fecal exchange.
Yeah. So once they figured out that he was touting cannabis as his main choice, yeah, the doors were shut. And I think in the later years, because of the levels of cannabis that he was taking and the type of person that Alan is normally, he just became this entity and this kind of walking bubble of information everywhere he went. So
good.
Yes, but he was hard to take at times. And that worked against him in times. It closed doors for him. And especially for people that didn't understand that he was medicating with that. And that was a bit of the effect of what was happening.
Was he? Hey, Paul? He was medicating, wasn't he? I don't know if we want to tell that story. But yeah.
You know, that is a story that someday I want to tell somehow. I don't know.
Sit back, buddy.
What. But when he came and stayed with me in Jamaica, I'll just say this. In 90 days, he consumed 400 grams of oil.
400.
In 90 days, 400 grams.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, and he would talk stream of consciousness 24 hours a day if you let him. And it was like, oh my God, I'm in Alan's mind. And it was like, and I would tell him, I would sit him down, Alan, you're talking 24 hours a day. That means I have to be in your mind. I don't want to be there. She was like, oh, okay.
So then he'd call me, Paul. Yeah. But what happened in the end is he did return to Jamaica in a pretty poor state. And he went missing for a few days. We actually had to put out a missing persons report because he just disappeared from the airport. 2 days later, he came rolling up in Parkdale, Toronto, to my house in a wheelchair, stolen from the airport. He'd made his way from the airport on foot with a wheelchair.
And all his shit.
Sold the wheelchair for $200 to a homeless person outside my front door.
Oh, shit.
And then he spent some time in the hospital for a little while, just cleaning out a bit and getting some medical attention. And the last year of his life, he went down to Mexico, or the year before he died, did some traveling down there with his daughter. So yeah, he didn't stop being Alan, right? I think he spent Paul like 2 months in the 2 or 3 months in that lost hospital.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is your daughter home yet, Paul?
She's not home yet.
We're going to figure this out eventually.
On my next paycheck.
Well, so on a recreational level here, guys, I had just put bud away, flower away, and it's been about probably 4 months. I'm doing concentrates only now. I was yesterday years old when I learned that doing dabs, you're actually not smoking or combusting it, you're vaporizing it.
Yes,
correct.
Hence the coughing all the time, right? Now, you're using something there. Is that a nail? Because I'm new to this. I'm still using a torch.
This is a baby.
I'll make it big so you can see it. Al's got the night off because he does this every day. I only do it twice a week.
This is a nail, a portable nail, actually.
Do you recommend that over using a torch?
Well, it's a set temperature. You know what the temperature is. I used torch for a long time, and then I switched to an e-nail, and that is because I can set the temperature and it'll stay there.
Okay.
And this is a portable unit that I got sitting here on the table, so
nice.
Comes in handy.
Yeah, the only thing I'm trying to figure out, like I need to get a bubbler, I think, again. I've lost my bubbler, and going out, I'm having trouble with figuring out, like taking joints for the ride was always, so easy, and people kind of accept that. But hauling on a piece of glass can be misconstrued for doing other types of drugs. So
sometimes it's easier to whip out a joint and have some a toke with some joints, or if you got a one hitter type thing. Depends on where you are, what situation you're dealing with. Exactly. I've gone, you go to events and all that, and sometimes you've only got time for a quick puff, right? So the pen, like Paul's got, is quick and easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I need a bubbler too, because
carrying all this around is.
You don't have a shatterizer, Kim?
I end up, I've probably had 6 in my lifetime, and I end up giving them away or losing them, so I need a new bubbler. I'm just going to get myself a new one.
They've got the bubbler. Yeah, I got one of those downstairs.
Did you have a bubbler? Did you get a bubbler?
Did. I've had a couple of them, actually.
Wasn't that nice?
I love them. Yeah.
I have not found the glass part of my bubbler since I got here. Well, don't tell Matt, because he'll be very upset.
That's what I'm not using a shatterizer, but I'm smoking one.
Nice. Nice.
It's actually the first time I've bought any dabs from a retail store.
I bet you that's Kim's phone.
No, it's the guy's phone.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's coming from Kim's end of the broadcast.
Yeah. It's coming from the west side of the country.
We've got some new stuff we want to run. It's only 2 minutes long, and then we're going to come back and continue our conversation on the Three High Guys with Kim and Paul and the other Al about Alan Park's Green Crush, which we will have a few minutes on in the middle of the show, so you get an idea of what he was going for. This is CBG TV, and we will be right back.
Harlequin is an ultra-diverse combo hybrid that is brimming with all sorts of superpowers. Boasting a really high CBD level, around 1 to 15%, which is a clear indicator of its medicinal abilities. It is also why this strain is a favorite among doctors who are looking to prescribe something potent for the fight against chronic pain. Cherry OG is appealing to users with a strong sweet tooth. It is cherry-flavored with hints of ripe strawberries and a subtle tinge of sour diesel that entices the palate. But that is not all. The potent strain contains THC levels between 19% to 22% and is a perfectly balanced hybrid with equal parts sativa and indica.
White Sumo, a rare slightly sativa-dominant hybrid strain. 60% sativa, 40% indica, created through crossing the classic Sumo target with white OG strains.
Banana Mac, also known as Banana Miracle Alien Cookies, is a slightly indica-dominant hybrid strain 60% indica and 40% sativa, created by crossing the delicious Banana Kush with Miracle Alien Cookie strains.
And we are back. Well, some of us are.
Yes, are.
It's the shadows. The shadow of the Paul. I was going to go like this till you came back.
Alrighty.
All right.
So we are here chatting with Kim. And why Kim? Because Kim was one of the original producers of the Green Crush podcast with Alan Park.
Yeah, so Green Crush was kind of born. Actually, Danny Menlo needs to take credit for that one. Him and Alan had a chance meeting outside of Yuck Yucks Toronto one night, probably 5 or 6 years ago, and Alan told him the story of what was happening to him because he kind of disappeared from the scene for a little while. And Danny and I had just met, and he told me there's the crazy, I'm going to tell you the craziest story and you're never going to believe it. And he tells me, he's been alive for 3 years, even though he was supposed to die 2 years ago, just from cannabis oil. What a story, eh? And we kind of all started going, that's amazing. So it just kind of catapulted from there. There were times that we all ended up living under the same roof for practical reasons. So the show just kind of became this homegrown kind of vision of Alan's. He had the voice, he had the on-camera presence. Danny had most of the technical, promoting, marketing, where to put things and how to broadcast it, the studio, all of that. And I was kind of new on the scene, coming on as with marketing and promotion experience. So we all evolved together on it, and it came to an end, I think it was 2019 or 2017 maybe, when like Paul said, Alan was having to take a huge amount of oil, and the last couple episodes we shot, I felt really bad for the guests because they were really peeved that their episode didn't get shown online. But we just couldn't. There was Alan just wasn't himself. He was, his anxiety was sky high. He just wasn't presentable or in a place where he could perform anymore. And that was probably the hardest conversation that Danny ever had with him, from one performer to another. Someone who'd been on TV, national TV for 10 years, telling them that they're not fit to be in front of a camera anymore was devastating for him. So from that point forward, everything he thought and did was either put on paper or put on a computer or in his phone. So like I said, it's going to be interesting to start sifting through some of that.
I've got ADHD bad. And Alan was, okay, I got a story. The first day I met Alan was at the Hemp something. Oh, wait, it's right here. Hempfest Canada. It was this right here,
Moonbeam.
This right here. I don't know if you guys can see. Oh, wait, hold. Let's put the camera.
Or was it the hot box thing? I thought you guys met at the hot box thing.
No, it was this thing here. It was the Fest Cannabis Fest Expo.
So that's when I met you too, then.
Yep. And we all went out for dinner afterwards. We spent the whole day together. Paul was there as well. We all went out for dinner afterwards. And driving through the city of Toronto beside Alan Park and Floyd, his dog that he had just gotten, was like watching a primetime special. Because Alan had major car anxiety. So it was like, and Danny as well. So we got Danny in the back and Alan in the front. I can't remember. I think Tracy Lamourie was in the back as well. And
Mary Jane was there, I think.
Yeah. And we all went off to Cabbagetown to go to dinner. And it was a very interesting ride.
I bet.
So Alan lived in Scarborough out in Rouge Hill. And so every recording day we would drive in, which was down in King Street, downtown Toronto. So it was about an hour and a little bit drive. And so the thing that he would want me to do is break down the numbers of the episode into a numerical type value. So let's say the episode was episode 152. 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So the number for that day in Alan's mind was 8. And 8 was going to basically envelop that episode and dictate what kind of energy he was going to put into that episode. So my job as the person trying to hang on for dear life was to also look up the number 8 and the esoteric meaning behind it, and try and come up with some kind of meaning that would not only make him happy, but also make me as a producer happy and be putting him in the right direction. Because if you look up esoteric meaning of the number 8, there are several different explanations depending on which site you're looking at. So it was always interesting. You know, that was our little, what do you call it? Like, that's what we did, our mantra before each episode.
And you didn't really know what was going to come out of his mouth until he actually said it, did you?
No.
Yeah.
No. I punched the glass a few times. I screamed and went a few times. Paul was probably there a few times when I was losing my mind behind the scenes.
I sat for 5 years behind the scenes producing all of Al's shows. We had like 7 shows a week we were doing between mine and his. And I was homeless, sleeping on a mattress in my mom's office, doing shows while she was watching movies in her living room. I produced a show on the 401 going out to see Al.
Yeah, in the car.
Al, my relationship is new with you. So what, can you give me a little quick rundown on what kind of stuff you've done over the years?
Where I started at was back in 2008, Rock 107 in Belleville, Ontario, terrestrial radio. They had a Flower Hour broadcast going on there, and like a psychedelic Sunday sort of thing. And one day there was a very important, huh?
I said Al was the psychedelic part.
there was a very important court ruling, and they had a 420 moment during that Flower Hour. So at 420, what they did is they talked about the latest movies that they had gone to the theater and watched. So I called them up on the phone and I said, "Hey, this is your 420 moment. Important court decision going on. What are you doing talking about movies? Should be talking about this court case." He says, "Call me next weekend. We'll talk about it on the radio." So for 2 years, that's what I did, was talk about news and events on terrestrial radio. And then I was a writer for a magazine, Treating Yourself magazine. And when that died, I was able to flip over to radio.
Nice.
Yeah, got started down in the U.S. on a network down there, and then came up to Al's, and then started my own.
Another thing you have in common with Joe Walsh.
Oh, yeah?
A little bit of celebrity status there. I told Al earlier that his voice sounds like Joe Walsh from the Eagles.
Yeah. And Richard Gere. When I was about 40, people used to tell me I looked like Richard Gere. Now, I and this was the ladies. I haven't got a clue, but so Joe Walsh or the Richard Gere's appearance, I guess. I don't know.
Nice. Alan actually did a lot of voiceover too. He was the voice of Chevy for a long time. When you'd hear that, yeah, for 5 or 6 years, he did the voice of Chevy all over Canada, and then they kind of got out of radio. Like, there's not a lot of, it's more TV and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he did a lot of comedians do voice work, right? It pays well, and they've got the chops for it. So
yeah, good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This our Facebook user friend. They've made some more comments. They said that they've worked with street people using medicine, so they could relate to what we were talking about at the time, and how it's helped people. Obviously, there's cannabis substitution programs across Canada.
We did one. We did Hope in Hamilton for a year.
Yeah.
We had sometimes over 250 people come in an afternoon just for a joint or a cookie and a bottle of water.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's one thing that I found out chatting with these folks. There's a huge community that lives down in the ravines of Hamilton that's made up. A lot of veterans are down there.
I was going to mention veterans.
And
PTSD.
they had sent somebody up from the group to speak with us about getting some extra packs that they could take down for people who were so messed up with PTSD in a ditch. Basically, they couldn't even come out of the city, come into the city to get one joint a week.
Wow.
Yeah, some of the stories were heartbreaking, and I was heartbroken when I had to stop doing it. Al's been doing the same kind of thing, but on a more one-to-one teaching,
Yeah.
But when you have to stop doing something like that for other people, it had nothing to do with me. I was very much in danger every time we were doing it. We had to have a 6.5 foot monster standing beside me because I got a 1/4 pound of weed standing in the middle of Hamilton, and we didn't. Thank God we didn't have any issues. But now Chris Backer does the same thing down with the cannabis substitution program that Neil last name Al Magnuson, thank you, has been doing. Started in Vancouver, which is what we factioned Hope out of.
Wow.
But now Chris is doing it out east, and he's helping a lot of people. But it's hard because the donations don't always come in. You don't always have somebody to make the dishes, the cookies, roll the joints. I mean, I would have to go down there for I'd open up the lounge and then I'd be upstairs rolling joints for 3 or 4 hours before we went outside.
Yeah.
Right. Because you got to roll 200 joints and then you got to make 200 cookies. Chris makes sandwiches.
You gotta grind all that weed.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I don't have it with me, but that's that big green grinder that I have.
Wow.
Is from the lounge, and we ground up our pre-rolls with that. We had to it's not easy for these projects to get even rolling papers because they're so fucking expensive. A box of pre-rolled tubes from Raw is over $200.
Wow.
It's not cheap at all, is it, Paul?
You'd be better off to source your own rolling papers for that, like the branded ones that you can buy.
It got to the point where sometimes we didn't have any rolling pre-rolls or tubes, that we would just put a couple of buds and a couple of rolling papers in a envelope kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was the best we could do.
What you got there, Paul?
These are
fancy.
Oh, he drops them all on the floor.
No.
Oh, wow.
You lay your weed out on the antenna for it.
Is it like a blunt?
Yeah.
Or is it just paper?
Paper or tobacco?
Paper. It's like a raw. This is
Okay.
Stop saying that word, please, guys.
There you go.
I like those king palms too. Have you seen those? They're a palm leaf, and they're in a cone. You fill them, and it's got a terp release in it. So you squeeze the filter, and it releases a terp flavor. And you're smoking 100% palm leaf. They're called king palms, and they're really cool too.
Mm.
But on the topic of what you're talking about, Al, I've been recently doing a lot of research and reading of Gabor Mate, who is the doctor who started the first needle exchange clinic in downtown Eastside Vancouver in Canada, and gets a lot of flack for that, right? But it's kind of prompted me to look into and explore what harm reduction really means. And looking down and seeing how many people harm reduction is such a good tool for in the trauma and the PTSD world, right?
Well, you know,
I think a lot of people need to listen to him talk about what addiction means and how
where it comes from
and all that. Because, it's I know I've listened to him quite a few times, and when he talks about that, it's just right on. It's true.
Yeah,
I know it had me take another look at the way I looked at things.
Yeah, so, definitely.
Yeah. Al, you were going to say something?
Have you? I can't remember his last name. Peter Ferences. Do you know who that name? They call him. He was lovingly called Dr. Crackhead. He was very, very open about his addictions. He was an addiction specialist and scientist at CAMH. Okay, he's recently passed away. I've found out actually, but he came on like that was his life was addiction, his addiction, helping people with addictions, and yet he still consumed. He wouldn't say when the last time he consumed, but he said he would go as far as saying, "Yes, I still consume."
Yeah,
I have. Friends and relatives that are sustained drinkers. They have a drink every few hours. It gets them through the day. They come home, they swallow a vodka bottle, and they go to bed. And they function quite well. There are cocaine addicts that function quite well. Most of the financial district is probably functioning very well. Well, it's what the movies depict. Isn't it? I've seen the movies.
Although I would
know, and movies can't even touch the reality.
I was going to say I don't know how many benefits I could pull from alcohol and cocaine use. Other than maybe pain relief.
I've been
sterilization with the alcohol. Maybe,
I've been very upfront with the fact that I stopped taking antidepressants and ADHD medication, and I substitute psilocybin and cannabis. And I've even gotten to the point where I can have a couple of beers and not feel like I'm depressed mess and I want to go and jump in front of a train.
Yeah, because
yeah, well, but the shrooms, as we call them. Now there's going to be all kinds of posts on my Facebook wall. As soon as you say shrooms.
Yeah, go and see so-and-so on my Instagram account. Yeah.
If you notice, when I say shrooms or mushrooms, and when I post it, I always say at the end, wait for it. But anyways, I tell people that psilocybin has taken depression, which anybody who knows me personally knows that I suffer bad. And it's kicked it out the fucking door or near to it.
Amazing. Good. Congratulations.
No, thank you.
That's something to celebrate, man. I'd love to talk to you more about that offline because
sure.
I've tried to get off a few different pharmaceuticals myself and I just haven't found the right mix. So it's something that's always intrigued me.
It's, microdosing. I've raised myself up to 0.3. A microdose, people say between 2 and 5.
Okay.
0.2 and 5.
Yeah.
It all depends on how uplifted you want to be. Do you want to be? 20 minutes after I medicate, I'm like zoom all over the place. But then I find out about the 4th hour, I get a little grumpy, and I would just want to be left alone. But then I wake up the next morning and I'm enlightened and I feel great and I don't need that. But sometimes I take it every day and sometimes I once a week. I've read that some people they'll take a microdose, a 0.2 gram microdose, and it will help them for years after that, because that's all they needed was a reset. I've done the 5-day reset where you medicate for 5 days and then you stop.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But now, because I know what I'm going to get and I make my own caps, I'll take 1 or 2, depending on what I got to do that day, depending on how I wake up. If I'm feeling a little depressed, if I'm feeling grumpy, you know. And here's the thing. My doctor knows what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hiding it from him. I told him.
Never have either. Yeah.
He's even gone as far as saying he will help me get a Section 56 when they start allowing it.
Nice.
So,
yeah, especially with anesthetic.
Yeah, but they overturned that, Al.
What's that? They overturned it.
They put the kibosh on all of that until more research has been done.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know, but I am open and honest about it. I have several friends that I'm educating about it who are doing the same thing, and they're not as grumpy. They're more uplifted. They're being more productive every day.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's just, I mean, I would not have gotten through the death of my mom without it. Quite frankly.
Awesome.
It was good that it was there. It was available for you.
Yeah, I thank Paula for that. Paula Huey.
Yeah.
I thank Paula for that, because she sat me down at the lounge one day when there was nobody there and said, "Here, try this." And then the next thing, we're making chocolates and everything. It was fucking awesome.
You know, the funny thing is, before I met Alan, I grew up in Kelowna in a very middle class, vanilla household. We watched the news every night. My dad worked for the city. I worked for the federal government. My sister worked for the civic government. Life was tickety-boo, and we just looked ahead with our blinders on and did not pay attention that was going on the outside. And then I met Alan. And he started talking to me, and I literally put my hand in front of his face and said, "No, I don't want this. I don't talk about politics with people. I don't want to hear it." And he gradually
I couldn't talk to him. I could not I could not have a conversation with him, because he would just start going. Once he started doing the conspiracy theory stuff, that was it. I couldn't even talk to him anymore.
But someone coming from a household that was very normalized, and you listened to your doctor and you took these pills when they said to, and you were the black sheep if you decided to use cannabis instead. He wore me down, and he got through to me, and he did change who I am and how I looked at the world. There was a time when my family literally shamed me into quitting smoking pot for 2 years, because you're a drug addict. Whether or not you want to admit it, you're a drug addict. Mm-hmm. Normal people don't need a substance to get through the day. So, years of this. So I gave it up for 2 years. I did not sleep without nightmares for 2 years. I was at the doctor constantly looking for some kind of anxiety relief, because, and then Ativan comes along, and pretty soon you've got a prescription happening. So yeah, Alan helped me to say goodbye to all of those notions that it was okay to not follow what your doctor says all the time and listen to what the news is telling you all the time. And yes, he did take it too far sometimes, but he did really open my mind, boy. And I hope that anyone who listens to his episodes, that even if one makes it through and you learn something from that guy, he'll stay with me forever.
And that's a great time to say, let's watch a few minutes of Alan Park's Green Crush podcast, which we start airing from the beginning, this episode, Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern time here on CBG TV. And we'll be right back.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in to the first episode of Green Crush. This is the show that's going to tell you how to use cannabis in your life, how to save your life with cannabis, and how to understand how the representation of cannabis through the media is usually wrong. How are you doing? Welcome to Toronto. We're in beautiful downtown Toronto. I was paid to say that part. Downtown Toronto, we are at the beautiful Pacific Junction Hotel with the studios inside the Eggplant Digital Network. Right here, this is part of the Eggplant Studio system. These are, this is Canada's leading independent creative content hub, and you're now listening to some Creative Content Hub. Here we are talking about cancer and cannabis, but it's not just limited to that. It's limited to whatever you want to limit it to. There's going to be furniture. There's going to be makeup. There's going to be flooring. There's going to be protein bars. You know how they sell those all the time at the health food store. Going to be packed with cannabis right now. This kind of feels like Aunt Jemima has just invented syrup, and we're just about to have pancakes invented as well. That's kind of how it feels like to me. We are just sitting at the top of a revolution. Like I've got an oil derrick at the turn of the century, and they're just about to invent cars. That's what this show is all about. But it's mostly about the fact that, I have to read what they gave me to read here. Hang on a second. I'll explain who I am. My name is Alan Park. Some of you might know me, and some of you that don't. It doesn't really matter. I used to do things that I don't do anymore. It doesn't really matter. I wasn't supposed to be able to continue to do those things because I was supposed to die. I was told I was going to die. I was told by an expert that I was going to die. This happened a few years ago. 2013, lucky 13. I spent 2013 in a funk and a haze as I fell apart physically. And I went to the doctors and I asked the questions and I went for the tests and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. But let me read this thing here. This is what they say it is here. The former Air Farce comedian. So yeah, I used to be a comedian on a show called Air Farce. It was on for years and years and years. I was on the tail end of that the last 5 or 6 years or so. What does that tell you? And then they went to annual specials, and I did some of those. And then I couldn't really keep working because I got cancer. Stage 4 cancer. Don't cry for me. I'm okay. I'm sitting here. I've got my green tie on. This is the Green Crush. Everything's okay now. I want to get to that part. I've had trouble talking about this with this in stand-up because as soon as you say you've got stage 4, everyone's conditioned to go, oh my God, this guy's going to die right now. Because that's what we have to understand is the case. Stage 4 is the end. So let's get back to who I am and how this happened to me. To make it clear, I was a comedian. I was on a show. It was fun. The show ended. That was less fun. Then I got really sick. It was a terrible situation. Let me see if it's correct here. It says, yeah, stage 4 cancer. I know that sounds like a lie. I spent a lot of time deflecting criticism. Well, you can't possibly have had stage 4 cancer that long or you wouldn't be here.
All right. So
You couldn't possibly be still alive.
Exactly.
And that's literally what his doctors would say. I'm so hoping I find the footage on that man's phone when he would go to the doctor and he'd secretly record him when he would tell him why his numbers were going down. That was one of Alan's big things that he wanted to throw back in the face of those doctors and CBC and all those people that said, you can't still be alive.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. And you know, CBC was the only major network when he passed away. I did the press release up for him when he died. And that was the only major network in Canada that didn't in some way publish something or at least a ticker line or something on their news. Nothing.
That's disgraceful. Every other network did it. I saw them, CTV, City TV, Global,
Yeah.
but no CBC. Our nation's network that he was on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was an embarrassment to them. And shame on them. Shame on them, because they could have been part of something really special too. And, now to see all these ex-politicians and ex-cops and like he said, we were on the precipice then, like Aunt Jemima inventing syrup. And he was so right. It just ballooned into this commodity, and it's no longer about the plant. It's about what it's worth. And
Well, and that's what's become. It's about its worth now.
yeah.
It's not, and we're at the point now where it's not going to happen. I don't think. That's just my opinion. I don't know what Al feels about it, but a lot of people that came out of the cannabis community, like Al and I did, and Paul and Kim, are saying that the Health Canada is now trying to strip that medical away from us. They can't do it. But there's a threat that's there, and that threat is being pushed out through the mainstream media. So that's what people hear.
Yeah, like when the government asked the question, can the recreational stores be a substitute for the medical program? That's just paraphrasing the question. It's a longer question. It's 5.2. It was on the Cannabis Act review, and when they started asking questions, can a retail outlet replace the medical program? They're asking that for a reason.
Yep.
It's not just to get everybody's opinion on it.
There's articles coming out left, right, and center on how medical patients, myself included, have decided to forego the medical applications, to forego the whole medical thing, and they're just going to the recreational store, getting what they've found that works for them, and they're going home.
So
But
they want to get rid of the growers.
That's right. But they're paying taxes on it, where I don't pay taxes on my metformin. I should not pay taxes on my.
The National Cannabis Survey that the federal government does shows that approximately half the people who enter the retail stores do so for medicinal reasons, but they're going to the stores, and it's not maybe of their patients, and they're not talking to somebody with some information to give them an idea, at least an idea on what to do, because when you go to a store, they can't talk. They're not supposed to, anyways. Talk medical.
They seem
as a medical user now. Is the MMAR still grandfathered in, or is that all been done now?
No, you have to have the newest version of that.
So has it reduced the amount of plants and significantly?
What is it called now, Al?
Well, we get our license through the ACMPR, which was swallowed up into the Cannabis Act when it became law back in 2018. But prior to that, it was a separate thing, but now it's all in the Cannabis Act, and we still have to apply for once a year. Still get our doctors. They still treat it like a prescription, but they say it's not a prescription.
So do you choose your grower, or how does that process work?
Well, personally, myself, I just grow my own.
Yeah.
But, but some people can decide to have a designated grower, or they can turn around and select licensed producers that they may want to purchase from.
Okay. And is it still prescribed per plant?
Like grams. It's done by grams.
Per grams.
And then they convert it. Then they convert it over.
Like I have 5 grams on mine. I have 5 grams, which gives me 9 plants outside and 19 inside, I think. But I can't remember if that includes 4 or not. I don't know. I haven't looked in a bit.
Yeah. For 25 with an indoor-outdoor license with 25 plants, it's 17 inside and it's 5 outside, Technically, you're not supposed to grow at the same time, but it's hard to continue with the medicines that you find that works for you. You have to overlap in order to bring things in for the winter.
That's right. It's foolish. We've had these conversations with Jack Lloyd on the radio show.
I found out this medicine works, but I got to throw it away.
You're not allowed to use it.
And succession planting, like how do you get consistent cropping if you're not succession planting and having it?
Yeah. Perpetual gardens. You always got both growing. You got the vegetable going, you got your bloom going, and go, right?
I think it also gets more confusing and harder for the authorities to police this stuff, because now everybody in Canada per household can grow 4 plants legally. So how do you determine,
Quebec?
In Ontario? Yeah.
Just can't forget about the people.
No, but it's Canada wide, isn't it? Isn't the recreation?
Yes,
it's a joke.
But Manitoba doesn't allow the growing. So of course. But the Quebec, they've already been ruled on in the Supreme Court of Canada, and in Quebec, the provincial government can shut down your grows, and they've already done that. You get fined if you get caught growing your 4 plants that other Canadians can grow, but they get fined for it. It's like $700.
Now, are they actually fining people?
Well, they're eligible to be if they're not. The threat
but
is.
What I'm getting at is, are they actually doing it?
I don't know. I don't know,
because I know there was a time in Canada before legalization took hold where, even though it was still illegal, they weren't bothering medical growers. I mean, I've had friends, you know who I'm talking about, Al, that had military helicopters hovering over their farm.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they were growing, and I mean, like. And now we can do that. I don't have to worry about a cop walking into my backyard and going, "You're under arrest." But yet, if I, as a medical person, puts too many plants out, I could still go to jail.
Yeah. Like like I said, there was 5 plants in with an indoor, outdoor, and 25 gram. You got your 5 outdoors and legal. And then you got your 4 recreational, so there's 9.
Yep.
But if you put out more than that, then you're risking your medical license as well as being charged on top of that.
But I know a lot of senior medical cannabis patients who have been for a long time since Section 56 was the way to go. I've had mine since I MMAR. So that was 3 programs ago.
The alphabets of medical cannabis in Canada.
Yeah. But I mean, would I take at this point in 2003, whether I have my medical cannabis license or not is my fucking business, not yours.
Yeah.
I'm growing something that has saved my life and keeps me going every day. You're not going to stop me.
Yeah.
I just don't think we give a fuck
anymore. You still can't hear you, Paul. Sorry, buddy.
I don't think they care anymore about the regular home.
Yeah.
They can't really police it. And that
it's impossible. Yeah.
Yeah, they tend to, like, when you see the reports in the news, it's always large numbers,
and it's always from a complaint.
Well, yeah.
It's somebody that doesn't like weed, and they see 30 plants in your backyard, whether or not you're medical or not, they're going to call and report you.
Yeah, what I'm talking about is plants that are in the thousands. That's usually the numbers that I'm seeing in the news.
That's different.
Yeah.
All right, so we're right here in Mohawk territory. And obviously, when you go to Shannonville and Tyendinaga, it is absolutely a cannabis weed Vegas scenario.
Oh yes, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Alderville as well.
And I had to
And apparently
today
they
at
have
work.
the
I
same
had
thing
North
over in Europe.
Okanagan.
yeah, same thing there.
Don't move.
I have
Paul.
not
Paul, sit
ever.
back. Don't move. That's where your voice was working. Just back up just an inch, please, sir. Thank you.
And finish what you were saying.
What was I saying now?
Talking about the places on the reserves as far as
Yeah, so
Tynagaga being a cannabis wonderland.
it is just absolutely insane. You know, like you go into these stores and they've got 80 kinds of weed, and you're like, what the fuck, man? And then you start hearing the stories about what it's like in the fall around there.
Yeah,
and how it smells.
I this year I've seen a sign on a place that said $28 an ounce, 3 ounces for $75. And then I know of another place that I saw last year that had a sign that said $10 ounces. Like,
oh yeah, you see that a lot.
I was just going to ask about prices because we're on our on our native land here. We're seeing you can get pretty decent pot for $75 an ounce. Pretty decent. They're smalls or whatever. Shatter, $15 a gram for branded shatter, not house shatter.
And there are a few, I want to say, legacy market mail order places in BC specifically, because that's where they seem to get away with it. The BC Bud Express, for one, has good stuff. I've been ordering since I've been here because it's the only place that I know that is reputable enough to give me a good stable supply that's not going to choke me out.
How do you think they're doing it for that price though?
I don't, they're same way the reservations are doing it. They're farming out. They've got people that grow here, there, and other things, and they buy off the res, or they buy off of private people who are growing. That's, they have a supply chain. Some of them grow it themselves. Some of them farm it out, just like the reservations do, just like the LP market does.
Because I wonder sometimes how you can even produce a gram of shatter for $15. Like,
I don't know. I know that I can produce a gram of resin for nothing because I have a squisher behind me. So does Al. He has my old one. Just saying.
Okay.
And then you grow your own, and you grow it outside, so that reduces your cost.
Yep.
But still, I understand where you're coming from, Kim. For them to be able to produce it at $15, if they're buying that and paying someone to produce it, to make it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, this is branded shatter. This isn't house shatter. So I just wonder, like, sometimes it's just too good to be true.
On the Mohawk,
like
every one of them kind of has a brand that they work with. Like Mohawk Medibles has, live resins, vape cartridges, stuff like that. And they all have some angle they're trying to work, Well,
in Tynagaga, Legacy 420 makes everything. I don't know. I don't know if they're growing anymore. I wouldn't want to say. Al would know more than that. But yeah, that's what I say. They were working with Dr. Paul Hornby for a long time before he passed away. And so, I mean, Tim is a very good friend of the station.
Good friend of mine too.
We've had a number of tours, and it's amazing walking into his facilities because he's got the shatter making machines, he's got the pop making machines, he's got this, he's got that, and he markets. And Al gets his juice.
Nice.
Al gets his juice from there because he's got a formula that you can just go squirty, squirt, squirt. Al's got Crohn's. He has to watch what he ingests.
Yeah.
But Tim Barnhart is 100% on the medical. He's there. He's on
Yeah.
it. He knows about it. You know.
Yeah, look, it's just
Yeah, see,
these are
I'm an
screenshots of a
I'm-
video.
I'm like Mary Jane, where I fight IBS, and that's where I'm
Okay.
finding the concentrates are really helping over smoking the flower.
I find that concentrates give me heartburn.
Yeah.
I'm
Sometimes.
on heartburn medication.
Oh, yeah. Are you on like Zantac or something for?
No, it's a prescription one.
Okay.
I actually have had to have procedures on my esophagus and because of scarring, so it
Oh.
is something that I definitely have to take a
My
It's
prescription.
not like acid
This time.
reflux then.
My buddy Dean lives down the road. Has an esophageal issue where he's got a pouch here, and that pouch, because it's so close to his lungs, has caused an infection, a chronic infection in his lungs, where he's coughing up like a baby does most of the time. That's why we call him gurgles. Sorry, buddy. But,
Thanks, Al. Now I'm
seri-
worried.
seriously, though, he's using cannabis to sleep because of, it's painful, right?
Yeah.
So he's got his license and he's doing his thing, and we're growing together and learning how to do it and trying to help him. And his wife has leukemia.
Mhm.
And so we're trying to find a regiment that keeps them going. Even the dogs, they've got, like my dog's 10 years old now, and she's having a hard time sometimes walking. You can, when your dog starts licking your paws a lot, or their paws a lot, usually means they're hurt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even that, I'm going to have to grow a hell of a lot of fucking cannabis this summer, I tell you.
Do you find, Al, that it causes more acid or heartburn? Using
Acid reflux sometimes, yes, but it also depends on what I'm eating.
See, I found that since I quit smoking pot, my acid reflux has gotten much better at night.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they told me to stop smoking too.
But that also depends on what you're using to grow it. If you're growing your own and you're using organics, then you're not going to have that issue. If you're getting from a second-hand shop, so to speak, or even the res, my cat just went into the dog food. You'll have to excuse me. I'll be right back. Pick that up, would you, Al?
Okay.
Interesting fact is I've moved up from Shatter, and because it's such a good price, I'm now hitting the caviar and the diamonds and all of the higher end concentrates, and I'm finding they're smoother too. I'm missing the terpenes. I would love to find a way of bringing some of the terpenes back in.
Well, I know that there's infused joints that you can get that come with diamonds, and there's also
General Admission makes them.
Okay.
They make a joint that's infused with terps and diamonds, and then they roll it in keef.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And who's that again?
General Admission is the name of the company.
Okay.
My favorite one is called Peach Rings.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you had one last time.
I know Remo's got an infused joint. He's got a 2-gram joint that's infused with diamonds and kif. The added terpenes, I know some people like that and some people don't like that.
Yeah.
I like it when it's real cannabis terpenes.
Yes,
mostly,
exactly.
Right?
I do miss the flavor in the higher end concentrates. But man, there's crumble, there's butter, there's wax, there's resin, there's rosin, I remember when rosin was the big new thing, and now there's like 10 more since
roaches. You got to remember roaches. There's roaches.
Bugs.
There's some rosin we made.
Nice.
How's the flavor on that?
Good. Let's see what else I got here. Oh, that one's almost empty.
See, I don't even buy shatter anymore. I just make some squishy and
I'm doing a Runts butter,
I like Runts.
butter
Runts.
right now.
Butter.
Yeah, and it's nice and fluffy. And butter is actually really inexpensive. Like it's $20 a gram compared to a $40 diamond. So yeah, I'm having lots of fun.
Yeah.
Diamonds clog up my shatterizer.
Do they?
Yeah.
Good to know.
Oh, what you got there, Paul? A piece of hash? You're shattered. It's a hash.
Nice. Old school.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I have left of the hash that I made.
I'm gonna show you something.
I got maybe I think maybe 12 grams total.
All right. Well,
You don't get a lot, eh? How long? Okay, your tray. How long does it take you to fill up your tray, Al?
My tray. What do you mean?
Yeah, your kife tray.
Oh, I'm usually a few months.
That's it, really?
Yeah, a few months, and I've got an
I never get any kife out of my fucking grinder at all, man. Ever.
Oh no, mine goes right into a tray. I've got like a 7x7-inch tray. I've had it for over 9 years.
Yeah.
I have a memory that just showed up. Then it was 9 years old of me using that same tray. And I get anywhere from 24 to 30 grams of kiff out of it when I clean it out. Yeah, and I've made rosin with it. Oh yes.
Remember that old strain?
RDC
Red Congolese.
Wow.
That's an oldie.
Oh, it's a sativa.
Yeah, I actually can't smoke this. That's why I got it, because it is and apparently Red Congolese, from what I heard after I bought it, is really bad for people with anxiety.
You know what? White Widow as well for me. I call it angry weed.
Okay.
I won't touch it. Yep.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. I love it when you see some of the old strains come back.
I like sativas though. I've got some Acapulco Gold at the moment and some Lemon Kush.
Yeah. I'm not smoking my Grape Escape. I'm smoking.
Oh, I like Grape Escape.
I'm smoking Cherry Pie.
Oh, I like Cherry Pie.
Ooh, me too.
Yeah.
Cherry Pie, very popular in Jamaica.
Is it?
Which
Yeah.
one?
Cherry pie and wedding cake and pink kush.
Ice cream cake. I grew some ice cream cake at the farm and I didn't like it. The terpenes were horrible. Probably just the genetics. But my friend who grew it as well said she didn't like it. There was no taste to it at all. So I just threw it into the hash bucket.
There you go.
I'm always pleasantly surprised by Sensi Star whenever I see
Empty
it.
Star is good. I've had that many times. Yeah.
That's an old strain too, eh?
Mm-hmm. I'm just an old school girl, Al.
Yeah.
I am. I don't like a lot of change.
No, I don't like pain
these days.
Yeah, well, because of cannabis. See, one thing you don't know about me, Kim, is because I have my Crohn's disease, as Al said. But the only time I ever had a prescription was for opiates as well. I've been hospitalized. Otherwise, it's just always been cannabis.
Wow.
That I've been using.
Yeah, I don't use
pain control. I'm on other medications. Like I'm on an infused drug that I have to take.
Yeah.
I have to go in every.
But nothing for pain like me.
Yeah. Wow. What's that?
I don't do anything for pain either. Just pot.
Just cannabis. Yeah. Exactly.
But you know what? Sometimes I wonder why. Sometimes I wonder why, Al, because I'm sitting here in tears because I can barely move. I wonder why I'm not going to the doctor and say, "Give me a couple perks, please." I mean, I took pain stuff for my shoulder after surgery and before surgery, but that's it.
Yeah, if you can get away from them afterwards, you're down with them. Do that because so many people have been, well, look at our.
If you don't have the right strain, though, it's not going to work for you. And
no, exactly.
So this next year of growing is going to be me discovering the strains that I want to use.
Yeah. That's why I grew strains for 10 years. I'm still
Do
growing.
you still grow always the same stuff, Al?
Yeah, I still grow my Grape Escape. I've had it for 12 years now.
Yeah.
Same strain.
You know what's interesting is I used to source oil for Alan sometimes.
Okay, we won't say.
They have transcript now, Kim. They have transcript now, Kim.
Anyways, there were a couple times where we were kind of lost and we were in between sources and we had to use untested stuff. And
it's not always that great.
Yeah. And how it affected him would just amaze me, the difference between, like a shitty batch and being able to get back on the clean stuff that had been tested and done. So, yeah, I mean, there's good shatter, bad shatter, good pot, bad pot.
Well, it's like for a few years, I mean, it's still going on, but for a few years, the market was trying to grab hold of the distillates and the isolates, and then people started shoving that in medical people's faces, and that's just not okay. A distillate or an isolate is not going to help somebody who's really sick.
Yeah, no.
That is, in my opinion,
420 is all full extract.
Well, yeah, but
edibles especially.
Giving somebody a distillate that's got cancer and saying take this every day and you'll be great.
Well, our Facebook user friend has a suggestion.
Okay, bring it up.
He says it's a food crop. We should just eat it raw in a salad.
You know what? And I'm glad you said that. Whoever you are, Haley, his mom, Cheryl T. Rose has just started microdosing fresh cannabis with Haley, and it's working.
That's the juicing?
The juicing, yep.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for a long time in California. I have a friend who had skin cancer out there. He had a skin cancer that went down his neck and ended on his chest. And he started making the holy anointing oil. But one of the things he did was he juiced fresh bud and about 3 ounces of it a day. And he was pretty convinced that by the end of the use of it, that where the whole skin cancer just dried up and fell off. Wow. But he had other complications. They thought he had maybe prostate and lung cancer because he had been a cigarette smoker, right? And
the leaf or the bud, Paul?
Bud, whole plant, whatever, all the leaf, all the stem, everything.
Yeah, and
juice it or put it in a smoothie.
Juice it. Yeah, just grind it up.
Multiple strains, so it adds all different kinds of terpenes.
Yeah, mix it up. Get as much cannabinoid spread as possible.
We're going to take one more break. Speaking of strains, and Al's got a video loaded up here that he's going to hit play on. Oh, where'd it go? There we go. Wow, man.
There you
I was
go.
getting into that. I was like,
It worked really good with that part of the song too. Yeah, the video end of thing was created by Green Irene, and then I selected the music that went along with it.
It's good. I like it.
do you
Now the first one
find-
the one that Al ran, the 2-minute version, it had the wording was being spoken. In this
yes,
one,
we've introduced some AI into our stuffs.
Wow, pretty high tech.
Somebody doesn't have the ability to read a script. Hi.
changing up the voice.
I can do voices.
Yeah. Well, I just have one.
Kermit. No. What
No,
Fozzie,
no.
Fozzie Bear.
What's his name again?
Fozzie Bear.
No, not Fozzie. The guy
Who's
from the Eagles.
Joe Walsh.
Oh, Joe Walsh. Yes, Joe Walsh.
Walsh. There you go.
Yeah.
Can you sing like Joe, though?
After he got sober.
Can you sing like Joe? That's the question.
Oh. Yeah, let me mute my mic first.
So once again, we start airing on CBG TV, the Green Crush podcast with Alan Park, which is
Thursday? This
six-
Thursday?
6 years now.
2 years, I think.
2
Or
years.
We ran 2 years of episodes, but I think it's about 4 years old, 5 years old, maybe even
a
6.
little bit longer than
I
that.
think it
'Cause
was
I've been in the
2000.
city. I was in the city for 4 years.
So
back in the
2006, 2007. Does that sound right?
Yeah, because I had just come back to the city.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm almost 50, and I swear, like, time has completely become something different now.
I turned 60 in September. I'm not looking forward to that number at all.
I love it. I love getting older. Like, there's a certain freedom that definitely comes along with it. You don't have to answer to shit,
when that freedom starts in impeding your abilities to move.
Okay, let's
So-
we depending on where you go to for retail businesses, some of them will give you a senior's discount when you're
Yes.
55.
Yep.
55, I
A
know.
lot of places are doing 55 now, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
So-
Denny's breakfast all the way.
There you go. Drugstores, other stuff.
So you-
People give you that discount.
It
Some
really
are
is freedom 55.
Yeah, and my guy's 63, so I get the benefit of both.
There you go.
Yeah, we're getting our discounts, and
You know, when my mom started using the seniors discount, she was only like in her 50s, and I was like, and then I didn't feel right about it. But then she stopped dyeing her hair, and she could play the part. She had gray hair for a few years before she actually turned 65, but then she never used it after that. She never used her senior stuff as a senior.
wow.
Wow.
I think a lot of people are like that.
I'll keep dyeing my hair. I don't want the gray hair yet. I'm not ready for that yet. I don't know why, but yeah, no. If it was all white, sure, but the salt and pepper look, I'm not there
My
yet.
mom had gone completely white, and she had actually told me that she was ready for a new picture with her white hair.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
It just
people look
never
fabulous.
happened.
So,
Well, some
you
people-
may just find that you just get tired of having to color your hair all the time and just say fuck it.
Yeah, but then what?
I know
happens-
somebody who did.
Yeah.
Wasn't me though. It wasn't me.
I don't mind the gray. I don't mind.
Oh,
it's bald that I don't like.
It's different for guys, though. Guys get more distinguished as they get older. Girls don't
That's what
feel
they
the
say.
same way, most of them, right? Like, I'm still baffled over this whole Botox movement. I don't understand how there's so many natural girls out there that don't understand that Botox is botulism. Like, and it doesn't look good when you get old. Like, I don't know.
Oh,
I'm all for-
some of those jobs are.
Yeah.
You look like
You've
Popeye.
earned your age.
You know what? I just speaking of getting older. I just watched the first 3 episodes of Family Stallone, which is Sly Stallone's new reality show. And right out of the gate at a restaurant, he's having a dinner with Al Pacino. It was quite funny, actually. But I've watched the first 3 episodes. It's on Paramount Plus. Or it's on Prime if you have Paramount Plus on Paramount Plus. Back to the beginning of the show. Yeah, and it's not bad if you like that. It's either I watch things like that, and I love all the Below Deck
How
drama.
old is
Drama
Sylvester
right
Stallone
where
now?
drama's supposed to be, on your fucking TV. Right,
Sly's got to be in his 80s now, eh?
76. At least that's what he was when they did that episode, right?
Wow.
So we've only got 15 minutes. Kim, I wanted to thank you for being on the show. Fortunately, and I said fortunately, not unfortunately, we're going to be seeing Kim a lot more, I think, in the near future.
Hope so.
So, looking forward to working with you on that stuff. Please let everybody know once again what the green candy green.
Smoke another one, Al.
That's why we don't do scripts here.
Yeah, sometimes that script is there to save those problems.
I'm done.
Teleprompter.
You nailed the name of the podcast, at least.
I'm done. Check us out at Thursday at 7 p.m. right here on CBG
Okay,
TV.
that's
for
what I was.
Green
Actually,
Candy,
that's what I was
Green
gonna ask.
Candy, Green Crush podcast.
Green Crush, yeah.
Green
I'm
Crush.
gonna keep our face. I'm gonna revamp and get that going again. Our Facebook page is kind of where most of our audience was.
I tried to send the feed directly to the Facebook page, and it didn't show up in mine, but it may just take a little bit to refresh.
Okay.
We'll work on that
Yeah.
between now and.
So for old Green Crush audience, we'll share things there.
Yep.
And then hopefully we'll get some of that audience checking out what else you guys have on the network as well, because I know you've got like tons of different shows playing. So
with Green Crush, I think that makes 17 Al a day.
We'll be 16, 17 weekly broadcasts.
Oh, weekly. Okay, not a day yet.
No, not a day, but per week.
yeah, so just really looking forward to, like I said, revisiting some of the stuff that Alan discussed before legalization took place, remembering his memory and what he stood for. He was all about getting the word out and, against the suppression of information that is still occurring when it comes to medical use and medical treatment of diseases and illnesses and what have you. So for me to have you guys step up and offer to be the platform to do that, hats off to you. I know Alan's, wherever he is, he's smiling and knowing that people are still going to hear his voice.
I don't know about that. I don't know if he liked me or not. I don't know.
I never heard a bad thing
tell.
from him.
It was hard to tell, though.
I never heard a bad thing about you from him, and he was quite open about stuff. I never ever heard a bad thing about you.
And he's got a name. He's got to have a name. We've got a name that he loves.
Yes.
Al. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Totally. So yeah, and I'm hoping maybe Paul and I can collaborate on a few things to get some new content happening there. Maybe revisiting some of the old guests, that kind of thing. So thanks to all of you guys. I really look forward to this new venture.
Yeah,
I'm there for you, Kimmy. Just let me know.
For sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
What else do we got coming up, Al?
Since
we have 10 minutes to fill.
Let's see. Tomorrow's Pace Radio show is on, and then Thursday, we've got the news broadcast, Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational News. Friday,
Long title.
pardon me?
That's a long title.
Yeah, it is. Pace
I know.
News.
Yeah.
It lets people know it covers psychedelics and cannabis. And I like to say that our news is educational. And then you got Battle Strategies. You've got the 420 radio show on Friday.
You do?
You do.
Huh.
And then Saturday, we got CBG this week where we run. Normally we run all the broadcasts back to back. Other than there's a 3-minute time space between each broadcast. Think of that as a time to go to the bathroom. You know, the commercial, it doesn't happen. Okay, because of servers and stuff like that, we have to put 3 minutes between each broadcast. This particular Saturday, anyways, we've got a special airing on Saturday afternoon. We are off to the Lift Expo in Toronto, where we'll be covering that with CBG TV on location. Green, Irene, and myself will be doing the walking, and Al will be running the board from way up north.
Yes, I am Northern Ontario Al. Nice to meet you.
So yeah, we'll be walking around talking to people, different people at the event. We've got ourselves some
northerner than you.
Yeah, and we've got some media passes, and we're gonna go in there and talk to people.
Yeah, and Irene is going to be there. We're going to have a booth. So if you're listening and you're going to
that's at the ICC.
No, that's at the ICC. I'm sorry, I'm a month ahead.
Yeah, that's in July.
We'll talk about that maybe next week. Is when we got
maybe next time. Yes, exactly.
All our ducks in a row.
Yeah,
I'm rewinding ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to ask.
I just hit a gravity pocket and it took me to July. Okay.
What was that, Kim?
I was just going to ask if you guys are still attending some of those hemp fests and lifts and all those kind of
things.
Yeah,
we were at the Karma Cup, and then we went to the last one, which was the Canna Expo.
The Canna Expo that was going on in Toronto.
What happens for 420?
Al, did you get that sheet I sent you on Kenny Hotz hosting the Six Nations Cannabis Cup in July?
Ooh, cool.
You talking to me? Which Al?
No, I don't remember that, but
I thought I sent it in the chat. I'll send it again.
Okay.
He's hosting the whole cup. So
where's that?
Wow.
I think it's going to be in Hamilton.
Oh, really?
Yeah. July 15th or 14th.
Cool.
No,
I'm tired.
Yeah, wow.
We're sorry to hear that, Gail. You just told the whole world you're tired. Have a nice nap, Gail.
You want to come and water my garden for me?
Yeah, I gotta go. Sounds like I gotta go water her garden.
Closer, I would help.
I gotta go water my garden too. Thanks for reminding me.
I have to bring my plants in.
She got home from work. We got supper cooked and eaten, and then out the door she went to our granddaughter's ball game.
Aw, that's nice.
And so she's just gotten home from that, and yeah, no time for rest.
No, simple pleasures in life, though, eh?
Yeah.
So here we have 8 minutes left. Do you want to plug anything, Kim?
I don't know. Do you think you're going to be able to stay awake, Al?
Yeah.
Are you good? Okay.
I'm going to have to get Al an espresso machine.
No. Although I wouldn't mind a new Keurig because I can make tea and mushroom tea in my Keurig.
I got a dog that's waiting to go for a walk. So
yeah, me as well.
Yeah, I know where I'll be doing when I'm done.
Oh my goodness, you guys are hilarious.
I'll be going from this chair to the chair on my deck while my dog plays outside.
Yeah,
I'll be leaving
until the seniors come along, and then I'll be back in the house.
So quickly before you guys leave, tell me how this came about. How'd the Three High Guys come about?
You know what? I have been trying to put this show together for about 3 years. I had some friends, CJ Price and John Hurley, who were going to do it with me. But then the lounge closed, and, you know, and then I said, Al and I have always wanted to do a show. I mean, we do a lot of stuff together, but we don't usually do shows together. Yeah. Because we realized a long time ago that the conversation just keeps going. You know, it's even hard to stop the conversation sometimes.
Sometimes that's right. So we've so this, you know, we started doing some. We're doing some road broadcasts together, going to different events. That's when we were doing radio, and then when Pace Radio Network and 420 Radio Network became two different things, we still work together on doing these road shows, going to places and all that. And so we decided that, well, yeah, there should be a time here where we should actually have a show where the two of us are together. You know, we've done all this stuff, but we don't have an actual show where we do together. And so Al mentioned the Three High Guys and asked Paul to join in, and there we are. We agreed to do it as a CBG TV broadcast.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Even though we are simulcast right now on Spreaker, which puts us on iHeartRadio. We're live on TuneIn Radio. For those who are audiophiles, we're on Audible. Lenny was. I said to Lenny, I said, "Did you know we're on Audible?" He said, "No," and he looked it up because he didn't believe me. He says, "Huh, there we are, right there." And then he walked around work going, "I'm on Audible."
Well, I just found it funny because, like I was saying, Alan was always about the numbers, and his whole thing with Green Crush was the tripod, the triangle. He called it all the time. It was me, Danny, and him. And so it was interesting. It was the number 3 all the time. And I'm on the Three High Guys podcast, number 3. So when I saw that, I was like, he is here. He's here and watching.
Yes.
So
yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward because, you know, I've only seen a few of them. I've only seen clips. I've spent a little time with Alan and got to know him a little bit. You know, not close to like you and Paul, obviously, but I know that he had a certain energy about him that sometimes was so much that I couldn't even talk to him. You couldn't even think about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was an empath. He was a bit of a warlock.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he had he was one of those people that when you were in his presence, you knew it, not because he was a celebrity, just because of his energy. I mean, we became friends that first day. Him and I, we hung out all day. Him, and Floyd and Paul and Al. I was there. Weren't you out there, Al?
No, I don't think so.
I must have been there with Mary Jane. I was there with Mary Jane.
Yeah, Mary Jane, Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
actually, I don't know if it's the same Tracy or not, but this
Tracy Lamore.
Oh, okay. I was to say because Saturday at the lift thing across the street, they are having the Tracy Curley Lounge.
Yes, Jamie Brown started that. Yeah, when Tracy died.
Yeah.
Right on.
So I'm sure that we will take a trip out there on Saturday during the broadcast, saying hi.
Oh yeah.
Memories. Yeah.
We went to the GMM, Kim, to the Global Marijuana March a couple weeks ago.
Wow! Yes.
And
yeah, wow, what a change.
Yeah, there were maybe a couple hundred people on the actual walk where there used to be 25,000 plus.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I'm saying maybe 100 people on the walk, maybe.
Do you think that they just, because the old group is not, like, what's happened if people jump ship?
Well, between COVID shutting things down, cannabis legalization coming in,
And a lot of people just got
there's
fed up
nothing-
with it.
there's no organized
Yep.
thing for it anymore like there was in the past.
Yeah.
Now I know that there's been some people discussing in a chat about getting things started and getting for next year.
Yeah.
I offered to run some promos for them to help spread the word about the event. Chasing mosquitoes, don't mind me.
That's what you get for living in Ontario.
Yeah, no, outside still. So
You don't have mosquitoes there?
Not like you guys do. They don't
Oh,
drive their
yeah.
own buses.
The
really?
black flies here sound like Humvees going by your face.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can hear them coming from like 3 meters away.
These guys are like they're warplanes. They just keep coming at you.
Yep. And on that note,
down.
On that note, we've got to go, guys. Kim, thank you very much. We will be
Thanks
talking
for
with
having
you
me.
soon. Gentlemen, always a pleasure. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Next week, check out the Coverage Radio Show, 7 p.m. right here, Tuesday nights, every other Tuesday night. And peace out.
Green Crush, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern time. Yeah.
That's
All right, guys.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Oh.
We are the Cannabis Broadcasting Group here at cbgtv.com.